This review is going to take you through the differences between the words por and para. These two words in Spanish are usually translated in a similar way. Both of them can be translated to mean for, as in F-O-R, the English word. However, their usages in Spanish are very different. They're used in very different circumstances and have different meanings, even though in English we sort of blanket all of these things together with just one word. So in general, here are some of the uses. This is the word por. Por is used more, it has more meanings than just for, whereas para is going to be usually translated as for, but por can be translated as other things, even though it's the one that sounds the most like por. Don't let that confuse you. So if you're saying gracias por algo, you're thanking someone for something, you use por. You don't say gracias para la cena, you say gracias por la cena. Gracias por el regalo. Multiplication, 2 por 2 son 4. 2 times 2. Frequency, yo voy 2 veces por semana, or you can say cada semana tú, or por ciento, the word for 100, or percent, sorry, so it could be 100%, 100%. Paying for something, yo pago por las papas. Lengths of time, estudio por 2 horas, not para 2 horas. If you're studying para 2 horas, that would be a time in the future. This is something that's happening now. Even if you're going to do it in the future, it's talking about the duration of that studying, not the time for which you are studying. And to show the reason, él murió por el cáncer, the reason, the cause. So it's translated as for, through or along. Paso por el parque. On behalf of, voto por el presidente. By, the means of travel. Por coche, or an author. You say, fue escrito por Gabriel García Márquez. Versus para, notice the change in color. Para is used more to indicate where you're going. So, él ya sale para España. She's going to that place. She's leaving for Spain. The purpose of something. El plato es para mi pizza. So, how to explain this? Say not like the cause of something, but the purpose of something. So its function versus its reason for existence. Versus its not reason for existence, its cause. What's making it do the things that it's doing. Indicate receipt. So, es para mi abuela. She's the one who's going to get it. Express a deadline. So that's where you're talking about para el lunes. If I said para 2 horas, that's a time in the future that I'm doing something for that time. So that's my deadline. And para un abuelo, él es muy joven. So for a grandmother, or you could say para mí, for me. It can also be used in order to, so you could say yo estudio para sacar una buena nota, or for the purpose of para pintar, in order to paint, necesitas la pintura. So some general common uses, traveling through something, expressing gratitude, paying for something, or duration, all use por. Traveling to a place, giving someone something, the meaning in order to, or a deadline, all would use para. Just to throw these in here, the random expressions using por, just to know these, and when you see them on your final, be able to translate them. And same with the expressions using para. I'm not going to go through all of these. You can read them on the handout. And to summarize, por takes on this past tense meaning that something in the past is causing what you're talking about. Because is a translation for por. It's used in that phrase porque. When you're paying for something or doing something on behalf of someone, or traveling in a certain way, there's sort of this idea of causality from an outside source, not necessarily right now. And walking through a place, moving around a place, all lumped in with por. Versus para is almost exclusively for things kind of happening in the future-ish time frame. So after whatever tense you're using, so after the events in the sentence. So if you have a gift for somebody, they're going to receive that gift kind of after the tense of your sentence. If you're walking or going to a place, using para to say, I left for Spain, or he left for wherever, that phrase is going to use para. Or your homework will be due on Friday, using para viernes, something kind of outside of you in the future, being your purpose. Or as that translation of for, para mí, para caminar, whatever it is, in order to or for, it takes on that meaning as well. So like I said, they seem very similar. It's really confusing to think about the difference. That's why para mí eso es difícil. But as you hear these phrases, as you're exposed to them, it's easier to see the differences between the two of them. You see ways that one is used and the other would never be used that way. If you need more help, I recommend going to studyspanish.com, just typing it in, and then searching for por versus para. They have several resources and activities that you can use to practice with this. You can also search for YouTube, find your favorite YouTuber to explain these differences to you. There's lots of people out there who are ready and willing to explain this to you. Some of them interesting, some of them informative. Choose your favorite. We also have that Quizlet for Unidad 4 that you can look through, and other resources in the OHS. And then if all else fails, set up a learner conference with your teacher to do extra practice with these words to learn them even better. Hopefully this made sense to you. Hopefully it didn't confuse you. There will be questions about this on your final exam where you will be asked to decide whether por or para should be used in different ways. I recommend looking through the handouts about por versus para and knowing those sample sentences. The questions you'll see on your final will be very similar to sample sentences on the handouts, or they'll use those expressions word for word, palabra por palabra, from your handout. So again, if you need additional help beyond this video, check out these resources listed on the slide, and buena suerte en tu examen.